Most EV owners are quietly killing their battery without realizing it, and the fix doesn't require a new charger, a special app, or a trip to the dealership. Just 5 driving habits. And no, you don't have to do this every single drive to see the difference. Let's get into it. Before we get into the habits, you need to understand why driving style hits harder on an EV than it ever did on a gas car. In a combustion engine vehicle, the drivetrain absorbs a lot of the variation in your driving. Gear changes, engine load, RPM buffering. There's a mechanical cushion between your right foot and the battery. In an electric vehicle, that cushion is gone. EVs respond to throttle input instantly. There's no warm-up period, no gear to soften the delivery. The moment your foot moves, the motor reacts, and so does the battery. Every aggressive launch, every hard stop, every extended high-speed cruise translates directly into current draw, heat generation, and stress on the cells. That's why 2 drivers in the same EV on the same route can see a range difference of 20 to 30%. Not because one car is broken, but because one driver understands how their inputs affect the system and the other doesn't. Heat and high voltage are the 2 things that age a lithium-ion battery fastest. Aggressive driving produces both. Efficient driving minimizes both. Over tens of thousands of miles, that gap shows up as real, measurable capacity loss, or the absence of it. And unlike the degraded tire or a worn brake pad, you can just swap out a battery for a few $100s. A full pack replacement can run $10,000 or more. That makes every habit in this video worth paying attention to. This is the context. Now, here are the 5 habits. Habit 1. Keep a stable driving speed. Constant speed changes are one of the most expensive things you can do to your EV's battery, and most drivers do it constantly without thinking. Every time you accelerate, the battery pushes a surge of energy to the motor. Every time you brake unnecessarily after that surge, the battery is partially lost. You're not just burning electricity, you're creating thermal stress through speed, through repeated charge, and discharge spikes. Do that hundreds of times in a commute, and it adds up. The fix is simple. Smooth, consistent driving. Maintain a steady pace wherever conditions allow. Use cruise control on highways and clear roads. Increase your following distance so you're not constantly reacting to the car in front. The goal is to keep energy use stable, not spiking up, not recovering from unnecessary slowdowns. Studies consistently show that this kind of smooth, steady driving improves real-world efficiency by a meaningful margin, and it simultaneously reduces the thermal cycling that ages your battery over time. It's one of the few habits where the range benefit and the long-term battery health benefit are exactly the same thing. Think of it this way. Every unnecessary acceleration followed by an unnecessary stop is essentially a small, self-inflicted penalty on your battery. String enough of those together across a daily commute and a weekly routine, and you're looking at an accelerated wear that compounds quietly over the years. Stable speed isn't just an efficiency tip. It's one of the simplest forms of battery maintenance available to any EV driver. Habit number 2. Smooth acceleration instead of instant torque. Here's where most EV drivers fall into a trap. Electric motors deliver 100% of their torque the moment you touch the pedal. That instant response is genuinely addictive. It's one of the best things about driving electric, but leaning on full torque as your default every time you pull away from a light is quietly one of the most damaging habits you can have. Hard launches draw maximum current from the battery in a short burst. That high current generates heat inside the cells. Do it repeatedly, and you're stacking thermal stress on top of electrochemical stress, which is exactly the combination that accelerates capacity loss over time. The battery habit is a gradual acceleration, treating the accelerator like a dimmer switch, then a light toggle. Progressive throttle input from a stop, controlled pressure through the first 20 to 30 miles per hour, and a gentle cruise to highway speeds rather than a burst and settle pattern. Smooth acceleration can improve efficiency by 10 to 15% in city driving alone. And because you're pulling less peak current, the battery runs cooler over the course of a drive. Over years of ownership, a driver with controlled throttle habits will have a measurably healthier pack than one who floors it at every opportunity, even if both cars started identical. If your EV has an eco or chill driving mode, use it for daily commuting. Those modes soften throttle response automatically, so the car naturally limits how aggressively it draws current from the pack. You still get perfectly adequate performance. You just stop punishing the battery every time the light turns green. You don't have to accelerate like you're afraid of the car. Just accelerate like you respect it. Habit number 3. Use regenerative braking properly. Regenerative braking is one of the most powerful tools in your EV, and most drivers are using it at maybe 40% of its potential. Here's how it works. When you lift off the accelerator, the electric motor runs in reverse, slowing the vehicle while converting kinetic energy back into electricity. That energy goes straight to the battery. Instead of heat into brake pads, you get range back. It's genuinely free energy that you'd otherwise throw away. But the key word is gradual. Regenerative braking works best during slow, controlled deceleration. When you hit the brake pedal hard and fast, the friction brakes take over, and the recoverable energy is gone. Smart EV drivers anticipate stops before they happen. They lift off the accelerator early, letting regen do the work. They approach red lights on a long, gradual coast rather than cruising at speed and braking at the last moment. They look 2 or 3 cars ahead in traffic, not just at the bumper in front of them. This habit, lift early, coast, let regen slow the car, maximizes energy recovery, reduces friction brake wear, and keeps the battery from absorbing heat spikes from repeated hard braking events. Many EV owners who master this habit report going well over 100,000 miles on their original brake pads. That's not an accident. That's the direct result of using the system the way it was designed to work. Set your regen level to its highest comfortable setting. And if your EV offers one-pedal driving, learn it. Once you're used to it, you won't want to drive any other way. If you're getting value from this content, hit like and subscribe. There's more EV content coming that cuts through the marketing and gives you what actually moves the needle. Habit number 4, anticipate traffic instead of reacting to it. This one sounds like defensive driving advice. It is, but it also has a direct impact on your battery over time. Reactive drivers accelerate to close gaps, brake when those gaps close unexpectedly, and accelerate again. It's a constant cycle of energy in, energy out, energy wasted. In start-stop city traffic, a reactive driver can double their energy consumption compared to someone who reads the road ahead and drives accordingly. Anticipating traffic means looking further down the road and adjusting speed before you have to. Maintaining enough distance that a car slowing ahead of you is a non-event, not a panic stop. Watching traffic light timing so you can coast into a stop instead of arriving hot and braking hard. When you do this consistently, a few things happen at once. Your regenerative braking opportunities increase because you're lifting off earlier and coasting longer. Your friction brakes are used less frequently. Your battery avoids the current spikes that come with constant stop-and-go reactionary driving. And your average speed through a commute is often faster because smooth flow is genuinely more efficient than an aggressive weave and brake driving. A practical way to build this habit is to simply extend your following distance by 2 or 3 car lengths beyond what feels normal. The extra space gives you the reaction time to coast instead of brake, and it removes the constant pressure of tailgating that follows reactive inputs. It costs you nothing, takes no special equipment, and starts working for your battery the moment you try it. This habit is one of the biggest long-term efficiency gains available to any EV driver, and it doesn't cost anything to implement. Habit number 5. Manage your speed on highways. This one has numbers behind it, and the numbers are bigger than most people expect. Aerodynamic drag increases exponentially with speed. That means the energy your EV needs to push through the air at 80 miles per hour isn't just a little more than at 65 miles per hour. It's significantly more. Driving at 75 miles per hour instead of 65 miles per hour can reduce your range by 15 to 25% on a highway run. That's not a rounding error. That's potentially 50 fewer miles on a 250-mile car. The battery impact works on 2 levels. First, the obvious one. Higher speeds means more energy consumed per mile, which means more charging cycles over time, which means more cumulative stress on the cells. Second, the less obvious one. Sustained high-speed driving generates heat in the motor and power electronics, and that heat transfers into the thermal environment the battery lives in. Over long drives, it's a compounding problem. The practical habit isn't to crawl down the highway. It's to be deliberate about speed. Set cruise control to a moderate, consistent pace. Avoid the constant 70 to 80 to 70 variation that comes from driving without it. And on longer trips, consider that driving slightly slower often saves more time than the stop you'd otherwise need to make for an additional charge. Small speed variations compound over every highway mile you drive. A driver who runs 65 miles per hour instead of 75 miles per hour will charge less frequently, add less thermal stress to their pack, and arrive at 100,000 miles with meaningfully more battery capacity remaining than the driver who treated the highway as a speed test. The driving style that extends EV life. Here's the summary. And it's worth saying clearly because it gets lost in the range anxiety context online. The goal is not to drive slowly. The goal is to drive efficiently. There's a real difference. Efficient driving is smooth, anticipatory, and consistent. It reduces energy not by going slower, but by eliminating waste. Wasted acceleration, wasted braking, wasted energy fighting the air at unnecessary speeds. Efficient driving feels relaxed, not constrained. Every habit in this video reduces heat, reduces peak current demand, and reduces the number of stress cycles your battery goes through over its lifetime. And because lithium-ion capacity loss is cumulative, the driver who builds these habits in year 1 ends up with a noticeably healthier battery in year 5 than someone who learns them later. Modern EV batteries are genuinely durable. Many are retaining 80% or more of their original capacity after 120,000 to 150,000 miles, when treated reasonably. These habits are what treated reasonably actually looks like in practice. So again, here's the bottom line. 5 habits, each one practical, each one free, and each one baked by real-world data. Stable speed keeps energy use constant. Smooth acceleration reduces heat and peak current draw. Proper regenerative braking turns every stop into a recovery instead of a loss. Anticipating traffic eliminates the reactive cycle that drains range and stresses cells. And managing highway speed cuts the biggest single source of excess energy consumption on long drives. You don't have to overhaul how you drive overnight. Pick one habit from this list and build it this week. Then add another. After a month, these will feel automatic, and your battery will be better off for every mile you've driven since you started. Drop a comment below. Which of these habits do you already use? And which one surprised you most? Subscribe for more EV content that skips the filler and gets straight to what actually matters.